We learned a long time ago that the idea of spectator wasn't one of the spiritual gifts. And we found out that jumping right in and getting engaged in a church is a place where you can find God's will for you.
I feel God knows our heart's desire. When we're always seeking Him, He knows that. And I remember when I first came to the Lord, I remember someone saying, "You are now on an adventure." I thought, okay. And
you were right.
Oh my goodness. And I'm so glad though that early on I learned Hebrews 11:1. And I've really hung on to that.
Well, you know, when you first become a believer, you ask the question, well, what is God's will for my life? And I've learned that maybe that's the wrong question. That the question should be, where can I find God's will, where I can be in His will, rather than what is His will for my life. But we learned to trust. You know, recently I was listening to one of the quarterbacks talk about how he was in his zone, and it wasn't just a day or two later I heard one of the pitchers in the playoffs talking about how he was in his zone. The only zone that I've ever been in athletically was the 3-second zone under the basket. But I can say that we have lived in the trust zone. Abandon our concern about what other people thought, what was going to happen, and we just lived in that trust zone, and it's the most wonderful place to be.
The church is obviously growing, and it's growing with mostly young, but there's a lot of us old-timers coming in too. But it's growing with young families. It has to be a safe place, a place that mom can look forward to coming to and knowing that her children or baby is going to be very well taken care of, that she's going to be able to go focus on the Lord without any distraction. And that's what it's all about. And that is what I feel this edition is going to help us do that much more. And let's face it, the young families, they're our future. Those children, those babies are our future. I'm so excited. I can't wait. I wish we could just wave a wand and have it done tomorrow. This church is ready for this.
Growth is an element that I think is important. Jesus said, I'm going to build my church. And what does that mean? It means He's going to bring more people into the kingdom every day. And we want to be a part of that.
We want to be ready. I don't believe that the focus of this is numbers. I think it's just having an opportunity to do it better for the families. We do feel a little confined and restricted as to what we can do, and it's basically space. It was such a wonderful addition when we had the great room, and it made such a difference. Well, this is going to do the same thing.
I think that when you find a church body that is where that you feel that God has you planted, you can't be a spectator and pick and choose what areas you want to support. And that doesn't mean that you have to agree wholeheartedly with everything. But if God's working and He's leading somebody like this Surge program that we have going, if that's what God expects of this church, if you're a member of this church, that's where you need to be. We don't want to be a church where Jesus says, you know, you were comfortable and things were going well, but then you decided to coast. The church body, the individuals that make up the church, need to step out in faith and continue to trust God that we will be doing His will.
This church is teaching Jesus, and to know that the children are in a safe environment and hearing the Word of God. Ah, I can just feel it now. This is a good place. And I think if people know that they're in the right place, they're going to see that this edition is the right thing. And they're going to want to be part of it. And it's going to be like the food pack. We're going to be so excited to see the results. And I feel so blessed to be part of this.